Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. Even though I've had some choice words to say about this set, I don't think it's very good as far as the archetypes are concerned. I do think there are a lot of cards coming out in the set that are just very good generically, and that's kind of a nice change of pace because as of late we've seen a lot of archetype heavy gameplay in Dragon Ball Super because that's just how they've been pushing the product. And while there are of course archetypes in Fighter's Ambition, there are many good just standalone cards for their respective colors, and I want to talk about those cards in today's video because those actually might have a bigger impact on the meta going into nationals than the actual archetypes may. But that of course remains to be seen, but that's just my guess. But anyways, we'll get into it. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. Let's jump right on in, and we will start with the Gohan rares. So firstly, I'm a big Gohan fan, so these are super cool to see from a collector perspective, but they are also some pretty good cards. So Gohan, hostile sand encounter, 3-drop 15k black battle card. Permanent, when this card will be removed from a battle area or removed from the game instead. So this is always an important tagline because it means you basically can't combo with the card. If you combo it, it'll just immediately get removed from the game, or if you attempt to combo it, I should say. But anyways, auto limit 1, if your leader is black or a Master's Teachings card at your life's at 4 or less, and you add 1 card from life to hand and place 1 card from your hand at the bottom of your deck, when your opponent attacks with a battle card, you may play this card from your drop or warp in rest mode and negate the attack. So this is good for so many decks. I mean, of course, the yellow Piccolo leader of the set is a Master's Teaching, so that's something to keep in mind there, of course. But I mean, black just basically got another, not really a blocker negate because it doesn't produce a blocker, but it is another free negate that is activated from the drop or warp at the cost of a life. It is a very good card, and then a 15k body after that is super solid. Like, unfortunately, this is a really good card in Hachiek, which is just an annoying deck to face, but just a good black card in general. Auto for a black energy, if your leader is black, when this card's added to your Z energy, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 4 or less and send it to the owner's warp. So most of the Gohan rares have an effect similar to this, where you basically get to KO a battle card or remove a battle card if you combo them, and they all have varying like cost restrictions and other things like that. But this is, again, another really good effect. Basically, by comboing this, you get to just warp a 4 or less. And this is a really good type of effect against SS4 Gogeta specifically, because most of their battle cards, or at least you know, their Gokus and Vegetas that they play from their main deck, they are played during battle. So if they do the play that plays those cards, you can always combo these things and then kill off those quote-unquote arrivals. They're not really arrivals, but you get what I mean. So if they play the SS4 Goku and you combo this, and then at the end of the battle charges to your Z energy and pay an energy, you can kill that thing before it actually gets to attack you, which is a really good form of tempo. So those are just great things about these cards, that most of them share that quality. But yeah, this card just really good for its other effects as well. Then we have Gohan, dependable young fighter. So this is auto limit 1 for a yellow if your leader is yellow or a Master's Teachings and you have 4 or less life. When an opponent's card is switched to rest mode by one of your skills, play this card from your hand. So it's sort of like a Poutine, sort of like a Bergamo, in that it can be played when you rest a card, and it can be played for 1. So it can be a 1-drop 15k beater, not too bad. When this card's played, if your opponent plays a non-barrier battle card with energy cost of 5 or more this turn, it enters play in rest mode. That's pretty interesting because it doesn't switch the card to rest mode, it enters play in rest mode, and this also doesn't seem to choose, but then it says non-barrier battle card. So I don't know why they even worded it that way. That's just kind of weird, but this will act as somewhat of a Poutine that has a body. It doesn't have barrier itself, so it is susceptible to removal, but generally the first thing your opponent plays in the turn, at least in the early game, will come in rested by this. But again, the non-barrier thing is kind of weird to me. But anyways, auto for yellow, if your leader is yellow, when this card's added to your Z energy, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 6 or less in rest mode and KO it. Now that play I was talking about against SS4 Gogeta, this is not as good because it has to be in rest mode already. So that indicates a card that you have rested by a skill or a card that has already attacked. Of course, you can do certain things to rest cards like the SS4 Gogeta battle cards and then use this in tandem, but that'll probably cost you more energy unless you have a free copy of, let's just say, Power of Super Saiyan, which is limited to 1. So this card is a little bit worse in that regard, and honestly I think this is one of the weaker Gohan rares, but still a decent card in general. Then we have Gohan facing the Android Terror, 3-drop 15k. When this card's played, choose a total of 7 of your opponent's battle cards and or unisons, and they get minus 10k for the turn. Additionally, if you chose 5 or more cards with a skill, this card gets plus 10k and double strike, so it has the potential to be pretty beefy. But I mean, your opponent having 5 targets is not always super realistic, so keep that in mind. Auto, if your leader is red, when this card's added to your Z energy, choose one of your opponent's battle cards or unisons, and it gets minus 15 for the turn. Can be a decent form of removal, or at least just power reduction to make you know, 1 threat a little bit less threatening. And then activate main / battle, limit 1 for a energy of any color. If your leader is red or a master's teachings, like 4 or less, simply play it from your hand. So again, a decent card. It doesn't truly board wipe because 10k is a bit too small to actually board wipe things, but I can see where this card might be pretty good in the future. Then we have Gohan Latent Power Unleashed, 6-drop, 25k, deflect, critical. When this card's played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, KO it, and this card can't be KO'd by your opponent's skills until the end of their next turn. So that's at least decent in the yellow and green matchups where they actually rely on KOing removal. But like, you know, blue bounces, black warps, red minuses, so this won't be so good in those regards. But auto for a green, if your leader is green, when this card's added to your Z energy, choose one of your opponent's unisons and remove 3 markers from it. That is a really strong effect. I mean, we were just talking about how the backbone of green might be the Fated Rivals combo between, you know, Goku acting as barrier removal and then Piccolo acting as a unison sniper. Although that Piccolo takes some more setup because you have to have a certain amount of Z energy yourself. And unfortunately, there isn't really a green deck that turbos out Z energy like any of the other decks that we've seen, you know, in the past sets or whatever. But this is still just combo 1 card, remove 3 markers. That is very, very good. That is really good, especially against something like a Boo Unison. That's just really solid. Is there going to be a green deck that can take advantage of this? Not super sold on that yet, but this will be a great card in the future for sure. Active main limit 1 for 2 energy. If your leader is green or a master's teaching, your life 4 or less, play this card from your hand. So it is a 2 energy piece of removal, a 2 energy 25k crit, and then I think the best part about the card, honestly, is the unison marker removal. That's really strong. And then we have Gohan Power Reclaim, probably the best of the Gohan rares if I had to say. 8-drop, 20k, deflect, triple attack. When this card's played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and place it at the bottom of the owner's deck, and it can be played at activate battle speed. Limit 1 for 3 energy if your leader is blue or a master's teachings and your life's 4 or less. Play this card from your hand. So decks like SS3, even Gamma can play this because it's an 8 cost, and if you remember, Gamma only restricts the abilities of cost 7 or less, I believe, during your opponent's turn. So this is actually playable in Gamma on your opponent's turn. Then of course every other blue deck is just going to want to play this card. Auto for a blue, if your leader is blue and this card's added to your Z energy, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 5 or less and place at the bottom of the owner's deck. So another very powerful, you know, effect when you combo this card, putting it to your Z energy and then getting a piece of removal on anything that's you know, smaller on your opponent's board. This card is insanely good. So overall, the Gohan rares are pretty good. Some better than others, but yeah, a handful of them are really strong staples. Then we have Black Masked Saiyan, Assassin from the Darkness, another crazy card. 6-drop, 25k, deflect, permanent. You can only attack while you have 3 or more energy with this card, and your leader is a Z leader or you have a Z battle card in play. Auto when this card is played, choose 1. If it's your turn, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 6 or less and send it to the owner's warp. If it's your opponent's turn, choose one of your cards and it gets plus 5k power for the turn. Activate battle limit 1 for a black. If your leader's black, play this card from your hand. So generally, this is just a really solid defensive card, giving your leader a Senzu Bean type of effect, and they have come out with so many of these lately. I mean, the Sin deck has it, the SS4 Gogeta deck has it, now the entire color of black has it. This card has 0 combo power, though. Keep that in mind. That is going to be one slight deterrent from playing this card, but I mean, again, in your like mid-rangey defensive black decks, this card's insane. And maybe in the near future, we'll hopefully see a defensive mid-range black deck besides Hachiyak. Maybe SSG Trunks can kind of step in and fill that role, but regardless, this is a really solid card. Then we have Black Smoke Dragon, which I'm sure all of you have talked about in your Dragon Ball group chats. Like, this card is just insane. Like, it's really crazy. 2-drop, 20k, deflect, permanent. This card cannot attack. Auto, when this card's played from your hand, choose 1, place up 3 cards from top of your deck in your drop, and if there are a total of 7 or more cards in all drops, draw 2 cards. Or choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 7 or less, ignoring barrier, and send it to the owner's warp. Or choose one of your opponent's unisons with a specified cost of 2 or less and 7 or fewer markers, and send it to the owner's warp. You've got barrier removal for things like Slug or anything else that's posing an issue. You've got unison removal, just straight up unison removal that any deck can play for any 2-cost unison as long as it's below 7 markers. Like, that is insane. Like, you know, there are so many decks like Gamma relying on its 2-cost unison, the Red GT deck, the Spaceship deck requiring its unison, the SS4 Gogeta deck, of course, with its unison. This is a crazy card, and we can tell that Bandai, you know, at least wants to produce more ways to deal with unisons. I mean, this is a really strong-handed way to do that. They might just want unisons out of the game altogether, in a manner of speaking, to say like, okay, let's promote Zenkai stuff and let's give decks really easy answers to unisons, so decks stop relying on unisons as much and then people buy new product. That's, you know, a pretty obvious marketing strategy. I don't fault Bandai for doing that. Of course you want to promote your new stuff, but I'm just saying this is a really heavy-handed way of doing that, and this is a super powerful card. Then we have Beerus Area Annihilator, 2-drop, 2Z energy cost, 10k battle card. Now this is a barrier Z battle card without deflect. This is so interesting because I feel like 90% of the Z battle cards have deflect. This one just has barrier, so that protects it in some rights and can actually lead to a situation where this sticks around for multiple turns, but it is susceptible to certain counterplays. But anyways, auto when this card attacks, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost greater than their current energy and place it at the bottom of the owner's deck, and this card gets plus 5k for the turn. Activate main once per turn for 2 blue. If your opponent has 3 or more energy, switch this card to active mode, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier and place it at the bottom of its owner's deck, and then this card gains dual attack for the turn. So notice here, that gives you barrier removal, then that gives this thing dual attack. So you're swinging 3 times with this thing, it's gaining 5k each time and can remove an overcosted battle card each time. So you have the maximum potential of removing 4 battle cards with this thing, swinging for 15, 20, and then 25k. Like, this card is just insanely good. Blue got a really good lower to the ground Z battle card, even though this ends up costing 4 at the end of the day. Like, leaders like Soul Striker, leaders like Crimson Goku can sort of cheat that cost, whereas you know, other blue decks will just ramp and cheat the cost that way. This is just a really insane blue Z battle card. Then we have Jiren the Immovable, another really good Z battle card, but it's weird because it relies on stacking more Z energy, which green is just not generally good at. But anyways, we have a 2-drop, 2Z energy cost, deflect, auto when this card's played. Choose one of your green battle cards with energy cost of 5 or less, which you can choose this card. And it can't be removed from your battle area by your opponent's skills until the end of their next turn. So this thing has a pseudo form of protection, like a pseudo barrier. Activate main limit 1, place any number of your Z energy in the owner's drops, then choose one of your opponent's unisons and remove a marker from it for each Z energy placed in a drop by this skill. Additionally, if you place 2 or more Z energy in drops by this skill, this card gets plus 10k and double strike for the turn. So another way for green to potentially one-shot unisons, although again, this kind of follows in line with the Green Piccolo thing, where green is not great at making Z energy, so how far out of your way do you actually have to go to, one, play this card for 2 Z energy, and then, you know, snipe a blue unison for 4 more Z energy? Like, that's just not like a super realistic thing in green right now. Maybe a green leader down the line will actually get more ability to make Z energy. That would be really good. But yeah, there's still a super solid card for when that situation arises. And then finally, we have super random support for Black Kid Goku. I mean, an all-time favorite deck of mine. Was never in a million years expecting support for it, though, but let's read through it real quick. Bulma, first ally, 1-drop, 1k. If your leader is black when this card's played, add up to 1 Dragon Ball from your deck to your hand, then place up to 1 skillless black battle card with energy cost of 1 from your deck in your drop, then shuffle your deck. So seemingly, if you were to adopt this support, at least the Bulma, you'd be wanting to play a mono black build, or, you know, some sort of like black hybrid. But yeah, typically Kid Goku's been supported in a way where you play like black red, but this is again showing us some sort of mono black support. Activate main limit 1, choose one of your black Son Goku childhood cards and gets plus 5k for the turn. So you get a free 5k combo on your leader or another card of your choosing. Android 8, kind-hearted friend, 3-drop, 20k, unique, barrier blocker, good stats. Permanent, when a black Son Goku childhood card with an energy cost of 2 or more will be removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill, you may place this card in the owner's drop instead. Activate main limit 1, for an energy. If your leader is a black Goku childhood and there are a total of 2 or more skillless battle cards in your battle area and or drop, play this card from your hand. So this is essentially a 1-drop because that should be a pretty easy requirement to meet. And then Goku, Power of Friendship, 6-drop, 20k, deflect. When this card attacks, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and send it to the owner's warp. Activate main for 3 energy. If you have a black Android 8 in your drop, play this card from your hand. And then activate main once per turn if your leader is a black Goku childhood and you discard 1 4-star ball from your hand. Switch this card to active mode and it gains double strike for the turn. So this is kind of like a Gogeta Thwarting the Dark Empire, although it costs 3 instead of 1. But it does have the ability to swing twice, once being a double strike. It's got deflect, and you are able to warp 2 battle cards if you are able to swing twice. So yeah, this is obviously not the most generic support, but it is really solid for the Kid Goku deck. I don't expect that deck to come back into the meta or anything, but it is cool for those dedicated Kid Goku players, which I know there are many out there. But overall, guys, wrapping it up, I mean, there are just so many good generic cards in this set, which is kind of nice to see, honestly, because again, the archetypes are quite a bit lacking in my opinion, but that's okay. You know, not every set can be a home run, but these cards in this video are definitely really solid. But anyways, of course, I want in the comments below what you think about these cards. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.